Your business is unique. You're unique. What you offer is unique. Your core pages might need to be different. Mm-hmm. That's something that you can think of not only from an SEO perspective, but how are you going to stand out?
Welcome back to Duo On Air. I'm Abby.
And I'm Courtney.
And we're the ex-agency turned entrepreneurial team that puts the Duo in Duo Collective. Our boutique organic marketing agency specializes in SEO, social media strategy, and branding.
We're an everyday pair of business besties / marketing experts obsessed with helping our community learn more about what it takes to run a business.
Which is why on Duo On Air, we're not holding anything back. We're giving you all the info we know about how to grow your business organically so you can be the confident CEO you were made to be.
And how to navigate life as a small business owner.
Whether it's on your own or with your best friend by your side, so grab your coffee
or your mimosa, we don't judge,
and settle in for a quick value-packed episode of Marketing Tips.
Welcome back to the Duo On Air podcast. This is episode number 174. And if you've ever landed on your own website and thought, wait a minute, where am I supposed to click? Well, this one's for you. And whether it's...
If you've landed on any website.
Anyone.
And you've been like, WTF, where do I click?
Yeah.
What do I navigate to?
Wow, there's so much here. I don't know what to do. Where am I supposed to scroll? How am I supposed to look? So your website should feel like this well-designed map. And it should guide your audience step by step through everything you offer. It should tell a story. And most importantly, it's going to lead them somewhere to actually convert. And you want to make sure that, especially if you have multiple offers and if you have multiple things to say, that it leads and it connects with all the right people in all of the right places, which can feel a little overwhelming. And so we're going to break that down. But we want to make sure that it's not going to feel like this chaotic scene with a million possible paths and you just have no idea where to click. And I know you know what I'm talking about because those navigation menus, usually they're like big retailers, right? Like you go to Macy's and you're like looking at that nav bar and you're like, what? Like,
and honestly,
what?
Even still, like navigating Target site sometimes really pisses me off.
Mm-hmm. The bigger your site gets, the harder it is to create a really clean and easy navigation.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to break all that down in this episode. We're going to help you audit your own nav. We're going to really rethink what you actually need to be up there and then make sure that your website feels super easy to navigate regardless of where people are coming from and even if you have 1,000 pages.
Yeah, so don't get like scared. Like if you're listening to this episode and you're like, oh my gosh, I have 1 billion pages, so I am definitely a victim of this. Like not necessarily, but like the more pages you have, the more in-depth UX strategy you need. And when I say UX strategy, you're probably like, what does that mean? So that's what we're going to answer now. What the heck is UX? UX stands for user experience. So when somebody lands on your website, it is the experience that they are having as they navigate your website. And I love how Abby said your website, like what is that storytelling piece of it? Because our websites aren't just machines to sell. Like they're actually, we always like to say it's like our digital storefront, right? They should tell a story. They should have some sort of feeling or emotion. And that's what your brand does, right? And all of your copy and just being strategic there. But it's also how does somebody navigate that story? How are they reading the chapters of this book or going through your website? And that's all that UX experience. That's what that is. So it's not just some fancy design term. It's not meant to scare you when somebody says UX strategy or whatever that might be. It's just really, it's very simple. It's that user experience within your site. So asking yourselves questions like, is it clear? Is it easy to navigate? Does it make them feel confident, seen, and excited to work with you? Or are they clicking around aimlessly trying to figure out where to go next? Stuff like even pop-ups on your website to sign up for like a newsletter or a freebie, magnet leads like that. This is a part of your user experience. So it is literally everything that's happening on your site and how you navigate them through. So a good user experience guides your audience like a friendly GPS. Not the GPS that sends you through construction, not the GPS that says, hey, go this route, it's going to save you time, and then actually it doesn't. It's not the GPS you get pissed off at that is frequently me in the car.
I feel like we need to put your Voxer messages in the show notes of this podcast.
We probably should. We could do a whole episode of my Voxer messages and me driving.
Courtney Voxes a lot when she drives, and this this girl, every time.
I'm not a friendly
she's
driver.
Like, oh.
Yeah, I'm not a friendly driver. Oh, my husband sometimes gets real pissed off listening to me in the car. So it's, Abby gets a kick out of it. It could definitely be a whole episode. So UX is literally everything from your menu navigation to your button placement to how your copy is laid out on the page. It's making sure that your site works for real humans and not just for search engines or for brand aesthetics.
And we're going to have a little audit at the end of this so you can audit your own nav. But I want you to think about how this actually converts to like what a KPI, so to speak. So am I going to translate this into like an actual goal or something I can physically see? And this is where you can use time on site or your engagement time on your website as a marker to understand your user experience. So if your time on site or the engagement time on your pages is really, really low, I'm talking like a few seconds, that's a sign that something is wrong with your user experience. People aren't hanging around, people aren't navigating, and that either means that you're attracting the wrong people or they land on your page and they don't know where to go. And so this is a really big thing that we talk with people all the time when they come and they're like, do I need branding or SEO? And sometimes it's a really clear answer where it's like, we actually need to start with the brand. We need to start with the UX strategy of your website, because right now it's a chaotic mess, and which we never actually say that, but sometimes they say it themselves.
Yes.
They know that something's wrong with their website, that people aren't converting when they land on it. And so basically then we talk through that you need to create that experience first, because we can do all the SEO. We can optimize all of the off-page elements of your website to drive traffic. But once the traffic gets there, it's your website's job to convert.
Mm-hmm.
Like SEO can't do all the hard work. Your website now needs to sell and create that experience that actually gets them to convert afterwards.
Exactly. So 5 signs that your website UX experience need help. You've got too many options in your main menu. So we've all landed on sites where there's just a billion options up there and you're just immediately overwhelmed and you have no idea where to navigate, what your next page should be. And that overwhelm is going to have people just fall right off of your website. Like Abby said, if you're seeing people that are only on there for a few seconds, something was overwhelming or confusing, or they didn't know where to go next. And part of that could be having too many options up in that main navigation menu.
And PS, you're going to check that in Google Analytics. So if you don't know where to go to check your engagement time or time on site, you're going to be able to check that in Google Analytics. And we'll give you a little path to follow in the show notes.
Yep. Second, you're using too cutesy or clever words for buttons and headers. If something is cutesy or clever and you understand it, your audience might not understand it. They might be so confused or so off-put by what that is and not understand what you're saying, where they should be clicking through to, where it's going to be bringing them. So being clever can be fun. Being clever and cutesy on your site has a time and a place, but that's more for just like tiny little call outs that are playful, or like bringing in branded elements playfully. It's not meant for things like navigation buttons or headers within your website. Again, there's an easy way to do this. It's just not in those main points, because that's where you navigate people through your site. You don't want them to be confused. The third one, there's no clear call to action. So again, that could be by using clever or cutesy words like that. It might not be very clear what that call to action is. So you need to make sure that your call to actions are super clear and, again, something super actionable for them to do, whether it's a button or, navigating to them to another page within a link on a page, that internal linking. So just making sure things are super, super clear for that user. Number 4, important pages are hard to find. So you don't want them to land on your page, and let's say you're a service provider. You want your service pages, whether it's one page, multiple pages for different services, you want those pages super easy to find. So making sure that those important pages are part of that main navigation And it can be within our own navigation. We have a services. And then once you hover over that, it shows branding and SEO. So you can click out to branding or you can click out to SEO. So it's very clear what service page that they're going to go to. But we want to make sure that they can find those pages because those are really important pages. They're going to be navigating our site. They want to learn more about SEO services or branding services and what it is that we offer. So we need to make sure that those important pages are really easy to find.
And I can't tell you how often people hide their sales pages. Like, I know that we think about them as these one-off pages that we're driving traffic to from other ways, but I also want you to remember too that from an SEO priority, Google thinks of your homepage as like the number one most important page. Everything one click away from your homepage is going to be second most important. If you have pages that aren't linked in your core navigation on your website, they're not going to be deemed as very important, and Google's not going to understand them very well. So even from an SEO perspective, not even from a user experience perspective, you are creating a poor experience because you're not helping to explain how that sales page or how that really important page is connected to everything else you have to offer throughout your navigation.
And the last reason that your website's user experience might need help is you're hearing crickets after someone lands on your site. So are people finding your website but not converting? That's a big error and a huge thing that might be part of your user experience. You're getting people there and that's great, but they're actually not converting. They're not following through to that next phase that you want them to go to.
And again, that's where you're going to use Google Analytics to help you understand that. Are people getting to your website? What is the number of people that are getting to that website? And can you cross-reference that with either sales or with inquiries of people like asking to work with you? Making sure that you understand what that ratio is, and then you're able to monitor that ratio. Everyone is going to have a different conversion metric, basically, depending on how big their audience is, how much traffic they drive, how high ticket their offer is, what they're selling, all of that. And that's going to make a big difference. But it's really important to know, like, are we trending on track with what we were doing last year at this time? And if not, like, maybe it's because our nav got so complicated because a lot of things changed in the last year and we didn't actually take the time to update it. So let's break down how we do this strategy for our own clients and how we lean into the whole user experience side of it. So this is something that we do first. We do this before design. And it's funny because we always have these calls with our clients and I'm like, I promise you, this is not the sexy part. Like, this is the part where you're going to see the strategy of your website. But I think the part that is like, we're doing this the right way, that makes it so very clear, is that as we are now designing the pages, they're so well thought out. The map of the journey of how someone is going to go and how they're going to navigate your website is so clearly built into the design that we are getting very minimal feedback.
It's also funny that you say, we always like do start the meeting. We're like, this isn't necessarily sexy, but it's fun and kind of nerdy. All of the clients so far have been like, no, this is awesome. Like, Abby pulls up the flow map and that's the tool that we use. And for my eyes, it kind of makes my eyes bleed, but I'm a designer. So like, I'm very much like, it's kind of like Excel, but for your website. Not totally, but it's like for me looking at an Excel doc. So it's kind of like, oof. And sometimes it can seem like a lot because it's very strategic on that UX strategy and the flow. But at the end of that call, the clients are so jazzed and they're like, no, this is so cool to see how their website's going to come to life. So it might not seem sexy right away, but when they see all the work and the strategy and how somebody's going to experience their site, they actually do get really jazzed about it.
It also helps eliminate rework. Like, you're not designing something that the client hasn't already agreed to. So it's such a good gut check to make sure that you're building the right things for the right people. So we always start with competitive research. So we're going to look out there. We're going to look at the landscape. Who's showing up first on Google? Who is our clients seen as competitors? How are their websites navigating? What's working? What are the pages that they have in their navigation? That's something I think we forget all the time, is we buy a template or we just assume, home, about, services, blog, contact. Like, those are the 5 core pages. Yeah, great, but your business is unique. You're unique. What you offer is unique. So your core pages might need to be different. Like that's something that you can think of not only from an SEO perspective, but how are you going to stand out? Again, you have like 3 seconds to capture someone's attention. If it's all the same thing over and over and over again, you really have to capture their attention to stick around. Or you can speak to them with a navigation that clearly addresses some of their pain points or makes them say, oh yeah, that's actually me. I need to go to that page and check it out.
Yeah. I think if you're buying a template, like we're all for templates for sure, but whenever you do buy those templates, they are all very generic up there. So making sure to like actually sit down and strategically think through that on how to add more up there or change it so it actually fits you and your business and offerings and whatever it might be.
And it's not just about you and your business and what you have to offer, but it's about guiding your audience.
Yeah.
Like, what are their pain points? And can you answer that with some simple pages on your website?
Yep.
So I'll give you a quick example of a client. This is actually something that we were doing for an SEO perspective, not necessarily the web design. But our client is a destination elopement traveler, and they do photography and planning and all of that. And they had a page for their travel schedule so that people could come and view their travel schedule. And I was like, that's great. Like, that's awesome. That's likely not going to be a page that is big for SEO purposes, but it's really good for people who know and love you, already follow you, and want to see where you're traveling and then use that as an idea for them to book their wedding. However, we looked at it as like, how can we switch up this page to be like, don't know where you want to have your destination wedding? Use our thing to help. So it's like answering a pain point of like, I don't know where to go, but I want to go somewhere beautiful. And that's how you reposition it. It's not, here's our travel schedule. It's let us help you choose where to get married because these are beautiful locations and we're already going there. So we're going to make your job easier. So it's switching that perspective on your pages and understanding, okay, how is this going to actually help serve my audience?
And it's more storytelling versus just like, here's where we are and what we do. Like it tells a story and it guides them through that.
Yeah. UX is all about the storytelling. Like it truly is about creating a beautiful story to guide your audience through. It's not just about your nav, like what's in your hamburger menu.
Yeah.
And honestly, with this competitive research too, sometimes the biggest insights actually come from seeing what not to do. So sometimes we uncover websites that are just horribly clunky and we know that we don't want to set up that experience that way. So that can be helpful too. So after we do that competitive research, that's when we start to layer in SEO and keywords. So what are people actually searching for? Can we have a page for that? Are there pages that are performing really well for our competitors in terms of getting a lot of traffic? And should we also have that page? So we start to layer in that SEO keyword research before we've even designed things because we're structuring, again, the whole experience of our website around this. And then after that, we need to understand our offer hierarchy. This is in no particular order of importance either. It's all things that need to be thought about. But we do need to understand, like, what is your primary offer? What supports that? And how are we going to map out the way for someone to get there? So it's thinking through all of those details of like someone who's first coming to meet you for the first time from Google. They're likely not going to book a service immediately, but they might join your email list. So how can we generate that experience? What about someone who's coming from Instagram? They're likely going to go to your Instagram links page. How should that page convert them? Like thinking through that page is going to be a little bit different. If someone is a referral from someone else, they're likely going to drop into your homepage, and how can you guide them along that journey? So it's really thinking about your offer hierarchy and how you're going to bring people in, and understanding that some of your offers might be email growth and email opt-in. Other offers might be buying a course or buying a digital product. Other times it might be inquiring to book a service. So it's really thinking through the hierarchy of what the most important things are and how you're going to highlight those on your website depending on the journey of where people are coming from. And then finally, you need to make it obvious and you need to make it easy. So we use a tool called FlowMap. We will link this in the show notes so that you can check it out. We are obsessed with it. It is an amazing tool that allows us all to collaborate together. So from an SEO perspective, from a web design, from a brand perspective, all of us are working together in this document. And it's literally a map of your website. So think of it, we'll share a little screenshot.
Yeah, I was going to say, let's share what it looks like.
We'll share a screenshot in the show notes so that you can see it. But think of it as like this block of like, here's your homepage. Now under your homepage are what pages. Now under those pages are what pages. And every one is going to be an additional click, kind of getting you to that process
like
and understanding the journey.
Graph.
A flow chart.
Yeah.
So it truly is like a map of your website. It's like a treasure map. Like that's how you should think about it.
Treasure
and like
map.
the end, the treasure is getting to work with you or buying your beautiful product.
Yes.
So really thinking about it that way and mapping it all out, because it's actually a visual tool that helps you see your website in a visual way too. And I think sometimes that can be really helpful than trying to just build the design around that. Like, I can't imagine if we didn't do the strategy, like say like we didn't start with SEO, we didn't start with strategy. Would you guess that like for a nav perspective, you might lean into like what looks best versus what's actually needed?
Right. Well,
Right?
and then poor Laura, our website designer, she would just be kind of guessing.
Yeah. Yep.
And it wouldn't be a good experience for us for like building out the website. It wouldn't be a good end result for the client. This phase needs to happen when we're building website. Absolutely. And that's part of our, like, when we talk to clients, we're like, when we do websites, we do the SEO, we do the UX strategy, we do the design, we do the build out, we do everything, because it is so very important, because all of these pieces go together like a puzzle. I'm not saying that website designers out there who do just like the design of a website are awful. There are some really great website designers, but if you don't back into that with strategy, then you might just be building something beautiful that nobody can find, or that somebody can find, and when they land on it, it's not easily navigatable. Like they can't navigate it easy, or it doesn't have great storytelling, and that's where you might start to lose people. You need all of these pieces for a well thought out, well working website.
Yeah. And we always start with this UX portion, and then the following week, Court and Laura have a design kickoff meeting with our clients to talk through, here's what you're loving, like let us know what you're loving from a design perspective for websites. But they already know the map of their website, and that's so helpful from a design perspective, because you might love a certain competitor out there. You might love how their website is laid out, but say we've already done the SEO and competitive research on the client, and we uncover that they're not getting any traffic. And so now you're understanding like, yeah, it's beautiful, but it's actually not working. So that puts a whole new perspective on understanding the mix of beauty and strategy and how it can all go together. So it just like starts the whole process a little more seamlessly.
Exactly. So we are going to do a 10-second test. We're doing a mini action thing for you here. So we want you, if you're driving and listening to us, please don't do it right now. But if you're at home or later, pull up your home page, and then we want you to ask a friend, partner, or probably even better, your mom, because we all know our moms don't do the internet very well. But if it's easy for them, we know it's great.
Go to a coffee shop or a co-working space and just be like, hey, can I borrow you for 10 seconds?
Yes. Ask a total stranger. And have them look at your homepage for 10 seconds. 10 seconds. And then close it and ask them the following questions. What do I offer? Who is this for? And what do you do next? And if they can clearly answer those, then you have a great UX strategy, or the start to a great UX strategy. If they can't answer, then that's where you need to shake some things up, because clearly something isn't working. We should actually, I'm very curious. I think we should do this test for ourselves.
I know, we should. Next time we're at a random coffee shop.
Oh, I'm going to ask my mom. Oh, I can't wait to hear what my mom says.
Yeah.
But I
want that too.
But I need to be next to her, because otherwise she'll definitely look at it for longer than 10 seconds.
I should ask our coffee shop owner down the road.
So you should. Oh my gosh, I love this. So if your website feels confusing, overwhelming, you're not alone. Trust us. We see lots of websites out there in the world of our research and what we do, but it doesn't have to stay that way. A few of these thoughtful tweaks to your navigation and your user experience can really completely transform your whole website and how your audience navigates through your website. and whether they actually take that action. So you can take small steps to kind of rethink your UX strategy, but if people are looking at your website and they can't answer those 3 questions with just like a quick glimpse at it, then there's something that's not necessarily working.
And maybe it could be as simple as like, maybe you need to change the name of a page in your navigation, or maybe you need to drop this single bar navigation and move to hamburger navigation, like mobile on desktop, which I actually, like, quick note on that, I think a lot of people don't like that approach because they don't like the idea of having like a hamburger menu on desktop.
Okay.
And I think we haven't talked about this, but I don't want to lose this thought because I think it's really important, is that we are in a mobile first environment.
Yes.
And you have to think mobile first, not desktop first. And your industry might be heavier than others. And again, you can go into Google Analytics and check under the technology section of where people are using you. Like, how are people navigating your website? Are they on mobile? Are they on desktop? Are they on tablet? And then also understanding that Google and AI bots are typically crawling mobile only.
Yes.
Only mobile. So when you are being ranked on your SEO from a UX perspective, they're ranking that on your UX experience in the mobile environment. So maybe it's doing this 10-second test on mobile.
It actually
not on desktop.
It probably is, yeah.
So that could be something that is very interesting too. And it could be, okay, maybe you have this like long toolbar with a bunch of words in it and you actually just need to like create a hamburger menu experience. Mm-hmm. Or maybe your pop-up doesn't make sense anymore, or maybe your footer needs to be restructured. Like, it doesn't need to be, I need to build out a whole bunch of new pages.
Yeah.
It's just thinking through that journey and kind of taking a step back of like, okay, I am going to put on a hat here and I am going to pretend like I am someone who just found this website from Google now, and I landed on a blog post. Now what? Now where am I going to go? Mm-hmm. Someone can land on any page of your website. So you need to have that experience of, okay, now what? Where am I going to go?
Yeah. And going back to Abby's point about like changing the names of words in your navigation, like if something like that is confusing, I'm going to point out an example where I got confused the other day. So some people, for blogs, they call it a blog. Very simple. Like, this is our blog. That's very straightforward. Some people call it inspiration. And that to me is confusing. Mm-hmm. I didn't understand. And maybe I'm, a small group of people, but I didn't understand what inspiration was. Mm-hmm. And it's actually their blog. So if you're seeing that people aren't driving to your blog from your homepage or whatever it might be because you have it named inspiration, they might be confused on what that even means. Mm-hmm. So it's things like that where you're thinking through like the names of titles within your navigation as well.
Yeah. So again, go to Google Analytics. I want you to look at your pages and screens performance, and take a peek at what pages are people engaging with the most, and then what pages are they engaging with the least, so that you can actually see what pages are not working for me and what pages are working for me.
Exactly. So your challenge this week, run the 10-second test mobile. We have just decided that mobile is probably the best way to do that. Audit your navigation bar, and then put on your audience hat and choose one core offer and map the journey to it, start to finish. That is your homework for this week. Yes. And if you're like, whoa, I need help with this, there's some good news. Website strategy is our jam. We absolutely love it. Our whole team is included. It's the marriage of branding and SEO, and it is literally what we do best. We're currently booking for the fall. We have a ton of websites in the queue right now for our custom websites. And yes, they always start with the UX strategy first. So if you're very interested in that, head to our website and inquire.
If you liked this episode, please be sure to share it with a friend and subscribe so you don't miss any new episodes dropping every Monday. Plus, if you haven't already, please leave us a review and don't hesitate to share any new episode ideas. We love hearing from you and creating this content for you. See you next week.